did have the option. Probably not going to like seeing him on that champion either, as Alistair is actually going to be removed. So Legacy, a few more pointed bans this time around. I have a feeling we're not going to see the Caitlyn being taken away.
No, not at all, of course. Infernum banning away from Jack Attack. No, banning the first pick away from Legacy. Having the double flex option, once again, one of the strengths of this Legacy side is the ability to pick a top laner and mid laner at the exact same time and not know where it's going.
Well, Poppy is going to be the final ban here for Legacy, and we'll see what Infernum do. They did have to ban the Gangplank this time, which I think is very important, and you're exactly right, the Graves.
Graves and Ryze. So they would ban
Ryze and
they'll pick Graves.
Lulu and Rek'Sai. Because we could see an exact opposite situation here, as if the Ryze is gone for early on, which it can't be, but if the Lulu's picked up, I mean, they can go for the Graves and something else. I'm not entirely sure. But Lulu's going to be picked up. Tally's going to put the most emphasis on that champion.
And we haven't seen Seb play a game as Graves. We've only
we
seen...
We have? Just one.
Just one?
Didn't do so well.
Yeah,
4-4-4 against AV.
That's why I don't remember it. Of course, what that means, they've gone for the Lulu first pick here, Legacy. They've very comfortably said that Carbon can go back towards the Rek'Sai. He's got a deep enough champion, pull those pockets, run deep enough that he'll be perfectly fine. And they prioritize the flex pick option. Seb needs to pick that Graves now, though, because they've already got the Lulu. You don't give them that combo, or what is going to be a potential combo with every single lane. Lulu can complement a Graves to be a beast, an AD carry, potentially another assassin in that middle lane. The idea is take it away while you can.
Well, Infernum, they are going to do so. Of course, putting a lot of emphasis on this Corki as well, as Jack Attack is hovering that champion. Does mean that Carbon, he can go back to the Rek'Sai if he wants to. Of course, Alistair is off the table. Legacy removed that themselves. So we'll see exactly what Regret 9 wants to play, but it looks like these are going to be the picks. They are locked in. So Seb back on that Graves, and we'll see exactly what Stealthix is going to do, whether he's going to be playing the Corki, whether they're going to give something else over. Of course, Lyssandra's standing out like a sore thumb here for both of these teams. Of course, a lot of players. Carbon's actually going to lock in the Caitlyn. So that actually was an intentional ban here. They want to get it away from Stealthix.
Yeah, and that's just so intriguing to me. Is that why would you prioritize the Caitlyn this heavily? Stealthix has already played 2 or 3 other champions. Yeah. And the fact that they actually in their second rotation go for Caitlyn and Janna, does that mean Legacy are now going to try and lane swap the team that did it to them in the first round?
Possibly. Of course, Caitlyn Lulu is pretty ridiculous. I mean, it reminds you of, all of these sort of late game scaling AD carries with a Lulu, Janna. It's sort of like the, what is it, Jugger Caitlyn? Juggling! I like it. We can go with that, and we'll see whether it actually comes out as something that's going to be focused around this Caitlyn or whether it's not going to. Infernum want to make an all AD carry comp by the looks of things. Nope, that's not going to be it. And Jack Attack is going to be on his rock in the top lane. Finally, we're going to see it. It's been banned a few times, but he hasn't actually picked it up when it's been left open.
Yep, and the other big thing to note is Yuzuki on Bard, able to be a playmaker this time, not just sit back like the Janna may and only disengage. There's forward options, and I'm going to say entirely game-changing options as well. As you look at the side that Infernum have put together, they've got damage between the Corki and the Graves. They've got engage now with the Malphite, and they've got follow-up or disengage from the Bard. The question is how he uses that, because there are situations where I'm looking at Infernum's team comp and saying that Tempered Fate might actually mess things up. That's
true. If that goes down as there's an unstoppable force coming in, things are going to go wrong. But one thing I really love about Infernum's comp is the fact that it's a comp that moves forward.
Hang on. I want to point out that I actually want them to lock this in, because it is a protect the Caitlyn, and even if she dies, she's still alive. It's genius.
Okay, well, Tally is going to be picking up what looks like the Fiora there in the top lane. That means Choo Choo's going to be on the Lulu, and that's their split push threat. So we've rounded out this kind of get around the Caitlyn type team comp with a nice 4-1 possible split in the late game if they decide to go for it. As Infernum now with their final pick to be locked in, and I say just go for the Lysandra. Let's just go full engage, make stuff happen. And mid base is going to be comfortable there against Lulu, just clearing waves.
Default to like the Orianna as well. I'm just thinking Control Mage would be the best way to go here for mid beast. Even if you wanted to go outrageous, just be like Twisted Fate. But in saying that, mid beast, we'll see if he wants to be. There it is.
Yeah, looks like the Syndra is going to be locked in. So exactly the flavor you're reporting on there, Rusty. And we'll see whether mid beast, now back on more of a comfort champion, of course, does love the Syndra. He's played it once, didn't find a victory. But look, he hasn't found many anyway. So we'll see how he does go. But I'm just looking over at this Legacy roster, and that round out with the Elise being able to offer that earlier pressure, there in the jungle, as well as Tally on this playmaking top laner that can really go toe-to-toe. Plus, it has % damage up against a Malphite who's not going to like that too much.
Yeah, so the way that Legacy drafted this was they knew Infernum get one counter pick option. They left their mid lane and top lane as a flex until the last rotation to make sure that Infernum reveal one of the lanes. They put the Lulu mid, getting the counter pick for Tally in the top lane, because going for the Fiora actually forces health to be bought on Jack Attack, opposed to a specific type of resistance. And even then, Legacy have put together a mixed damage team composition. So their drafting was smart. Infernum, though, much more comfortable this time around because they've got everything that we're used to seeing from them.
Yeah, exactly. And this is Jack Attack now back on his big tank there in the top lane. What he's known for, definitely his comfort zone. Mid-base, we've already mentioned, he's back at a comfortable position. And Stealthix had a brilliant performance on that Corki. Very, very strong at the moment. And we'll see what Yuzuki can do now on a different champion here in the bottom lane in the Bard. But we want to hear from you. Use that hashtag LGC win if you think it's going to be a 2-0, or if you think that Infernum can make it back in this particular game. Use that hashtag INF win, and also just let us know what's going on. Use that hashtag IMOPL. We may be able to get on the broadcast. Of course, we saw a few fantastic tweets last game. We want to see some more, so make sure you're tweeting it.
And we're mostly beard related, weirdly
I know.
enough. No idea why.
Strange.
But of course, we are about to get into this second game, and Infernum, I will say, are much more comfortable this time around. It makes me very happy to know that they're coming into this game and they've drafted what they are best at.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even mention Seb. I mean, I didn't when I was rattling through with a comfort zone type style, but Seb's on a damage dealer here in the jungle. And as sort of a guy that's happy to carry, we'll see what happens, is just stop with the beard tweets. Chris, thank you. Thank you. Hashtag bring back the beard. Spawn, okay, you know what's going on. You just need to bring it back. We're not going to have that conversation again,
the hard
but
part is
Choo-Choo's,
you can't actually just bring back a beard. Let's be honest. So you need to actually grow back a beard.
just imagining him sitting down in the room out the back going, trying to grow his face out, but it's just not happening. Slight catch there under Choo-Choo's, but he's not worried.
Yeah, so Infernum, they're invading this time around, getting some deep vision, and actually killed Legacy's ward on their way through. So
dangerous stuff.
Legacy now a bit more blind with their own vision. They do use their blind faith and invade equally, to be fair. They now place down and looking for standard lanes here, Infernum. We'll see if Legacy actually look to respond, because keep in mind, Caitlyn Janna can take down turrets like it's nobody's business. Well,
another tweet comes in. Old chap. He's come in saying, baby in arms, OPL on the iPad, support main in life, and lol. Come on, Legacy, bring out the Bard for the win. Well, Legacy ain't bringing out no Bards, as Yuzuki's picked that one up. Of course, formerly Legacy Genesis, so theoretically somewhat of a Legacy player, but definitely not this game, as Infernum are going to start off on this Grump on the bottom side. Yuzuki now just going for a wander, and it is going to be standard lanes.
Yeah, look, Infernum knew that tweet was coming, so they counter-picked. It's genius. Yeah, take that one away. And we are seeing the standard lanes, as you mentioned. The threatening thing here is that we said they're good at taking down turrets between a Caitlyn and a Janna. But if King ever gets on top of you and keeps hitting you with a Janna shield, does more than you'd think.
Yeah, it actually does make up for her relatively lackluster mid-game as well. Gives her that bit of a bigger damage spike if you do get that Eye of the Storm max. So I like it. Jack Attack, just wet noodling.
What a kind vital placement as well.
Oh, God. Has the change come through on this patch? I don't know whether it has.
So
bottom left, top right? Yes, it has. So if you're a little bit more telegraphed with where she's going to get those vitals, as Seb's just going to drive by this mid lane. Choo-Choo's just being annoying. God. Double teleport, though, on the side of Legacy, so probably not going to have too much kill pressure in the mid lane on this Lulu, but we'll be able to get back to lane if he does take any pressure from mid-base.
Yep, and absolutely complements what Choo-Choo's tries to do.
Yeah.
If they get an armor-stacking Malphite in the top lane, put the magic damage up there, you know? It'll be fine.
Nice. Mid-base actually doing some buttons. Last time we saw him play the Syndra, the biggest issue that we had was the fact that he just wasn't willing to go in. This time it does look like he's more happy to, as Carbon is going to get over, takes away a red buff, and is even going to get the cocoon onto Seb, who's quite upset.
Now the games begin.
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble. Repel's going to be used, just heads over the top. All right. He's going to get out. Seb now going to continue trying to follow, but Scatter the Week's on cooldown. And,
no, look, fair enough.
I'm frustrated now on behalf of Infernum.
I'm just going to straight up say that though this smite was great, it was also a misplay from Seb smiting early. Already saw the ward go down. Should have saved it for the last hit, and then mid-base tries to stun Elise. Running towards him, didn't actually bait out the repel. Legacy get out unscathed, and Carbon retaining that stat.
Yeah, and it's just some impatient play coming out from Infernum here as well. You can tell that they're still a little bit frustrated from how that last game went. And it definitely was not a happy story as Seb, without a red buff, going to try and put the gank down onto Tally. That riposte is going to be available, trying to stop something, but he may not even need to use it here. As End of the Line comes down, he's going to block the second portion of the damage. But he's just going to take a bit of harassment and then move away safely without even blowing the flash.
So blocking the second portion was actually the most important part. It does a whole lot of damage, and Seb only being level 3, to be fair, the damage isn't that ridiculous. Still enough to be noteworthy, as Tally gets out perfectly fine. He already has himself a CS advantage that only got closed a bit because Seb was there.
Well, another tweet comes in. E-Gym, of course, from the Chiefs. If Infernum are going to make a game, take a game off Legacy, it's going to be this one. Hashtag I'm OPL. Well, we will see. Because if they don't, they certainly won't take a game off Legacy because the series will be over.
I think it's safe to say, though, looking at the composition that Legacy have put in place, they run a risk of falling behind quite hard. Their engage tools are lacking.
Oh, Regret actually getting stunned to the wall here. Yuzuki got to put some pressure down. Eye of the Storm had to be used onto Regret, so King without a little bit of that pressure. You can see they are still pushing up very hard. Another stun comes down. Nice phosphorus bomb. The Ignite goes in. Stealthix looking for it now as King took a lot of follow-up flak. And the bottom lane from Infernum starting to do some work.
Can you just chill out, Janna? You're a Janna. You're not able to walk up to the turret and out-trade a Bard. And he's just trying to get money. It's greedy from Flying Dew. He almost goes down for it, but of course, Yuzuki just not having enough damage yet.
Jack Attack just moving out of the way of that Vital as he's going to try and head back to base. Looks like he's going to be able to do so as well.
That's such a cool recall.
So damn cool. Does he tunnel onto the ground or fly up into the sky? Can't quite remember. Seb, coming around for a gank though as Choo Choo's going to get out of the way of the stun. Carbon comes in. That's a nice cocoon as Choo Choo's still able to get the work done. Seb's gone down so low. First blood comes in as Tally had even teleported in. Takes a turret shot to celebrate the first blood and steals away a cannon creep. What a top laner.
Yeah, Legacy, they find themselves that first kill. It's Carbon actually sitting in Seb's topside jungle. Right place, right time. Walks onto a pink ward, so knows he's safe to throw the cocoon out, and does absolutely that. It's the communication from Legacy. The direction that Choose ran wasn't towards the bush where Carbon was. Instead was above the bush where he knew there was no ward, and Carbon could freely get in, hit the cocoon. Yeah,
really nicely played. Of course, playing towards their pink wards, just so smart. Infernum still getting pressured underneath this turret, 53 to 43, as Carbon's going to find another cocoon. Mid-beast going to miss it as he tries to get the juke in. Choo Choo's taking a bit of damage from Seb now as, we do have a Malphite coming in, does have that unstoppable force. He should have probably moved down a little bit further as Choo Choo's going to flash out of the way. Nice stun from Yuzuki as Seb is going to get in there. Yuzuki's going to be able to pick up that kill on the Brad. We'll see what he can do with the extra money.
Not too bad giving money to a Bard of all champions in the support role, to be fair. I knew
you'd be okay with that.
Yeah, look, it's great.
Magical Journey going to be used. Oh, Regret was about to take that. He was so ready. He's like, I'm going.
And then realized he was a Janna, of course.
Once again. Finally, actually realizing said Janna.
But yeah, look, Yuzuki got a roam in. That's why he's got that first blood. Didn't even have the Ignite available. But what we're seeing from him is very good cosmic bindings to ensure that these kills and even pressure in lane is being established. Unfortunately, Caitlyn Janna still just has an unbelievable amount of pressure themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And Yuzuki hasn't had a chance to recall, so natural advantage in this lane goes to Legacy. They did get themselves a kill, though.
Well, Stealthic's going to be able to eat some cuppers, get himself back up to health. As Legacy, you can see, they're just continuing to push. 13 CS in the lead now for King. As the Rockets have been gained from Stealthix, he's being able to keep onto some of his mana. And Seb just can't quite find his way in towards this bottom side. Carbon, surprise, going to be in the enemy jungle one more time. Oh, red buff's going to spawn. Seb's not going to make it there in time, and he's got so many wards. He's just waiting.
He has a sight stone. He just places all of his wards down around this red buff. Knows exactly where Seb is going to be. And Seb not level 6. Here we go.
Oh, God. Well, Seb's going to get caught by the cocoon. Seb knew that Carbon was around here, but you can see he just does too much damage. Jack Attack's going to come over. There's the repel. It was almost too easy there from Carbon. as Tally's come over. Midbeast is down. Nice riposte comes in as Grand Challenge comes down as well. Choo Choo's going to wild growth his teammate. Midbeast going to fall down, but Carbon's going to be traded. Jack Attack forced to flash underneath his turret. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the end. It could have gone worse for Infernum.
Absolutely should have been worse for Infernum. They do quite well to get something out of this. And Midbeast's ultimate down with Seb's damage was enough to secure a single kill. Carbon's aggression here absolutely rewarded though. The only misplay after this, fantastic repel by the way, right now. Bam.
It was a little bit easy, wasn't it?
It was easy, but it was also executable. You still need the reactions. Of course, Tally then moves on to Midbeast. They take him down. Carbon's only mistake was to hop out of Tally's Fiora ultimate, which may have healed him.
This is awkward. Jack Attack burning down with the red buff. Choo Choo's knows that it's enough. He'd stolen that one away, I believe. So Legacy able to get the dive working in the top lane after some interesting Benny Hill type stuff.
It's just so simple. Every time Legacy find their advantages, they just ramp up the aggression and the pressure, and it doesn't slow down.
No.
Midbeast doesn't have an answer when he's dead to Choo Choo's going to that top lane. Malphite doesn't have an ultimate to escape or a flash, just like that. Another kill.
But this time around, Midbeast is having a better time there in the mid lane. 68-54 now, managing to get himself ahead by about 14 CS. And by about, I mean exactly. And Tally going towards that Titanic Hydra in the top side. May transform it back to the Ravenous. We've spoken about that build path being quite nice before. And now Legacy grouping up for a siege. Of course, if we've spoken about Caitlyn in the past, it's the fact that she just wants to be sieging. Choo Choo's not taking too much damage there from the combo out of Midbeast, who may need to go back and grab that Morellonomicon if he really wants to start doing some work. May not have quite enough money now.
This is still reasonably favorable here for Legacy. They're starting up the aptly named Oceanic ARAM, but looking at the team composition that Legacy have got in place, they can take these turrets down if Infernum don't engage. All it takes is a Syndra stun or a Bard ult.
Yeah, there's the Tempered Fate. He's going to lock King down for the moment as Seb's going to make his way in, immediately flashes away. Not going to take too much follow-up damage, but Jack Attack's here now, and this is exactly what Infernum want to do. They want to group them together, smack him in the face with a big old rock, but they just can't quite find it.
Jack's going to keep looking aggressively to at least zone Legacy away, but Legacy aren't backing down.
No, they are going to get...
They're zoning away from Tally, to be fair. He's pushing this bottom turret. He's on the second turret. And now we're looking at an interesting choke.
Yeah, they're getting corralled here just a little bit. Wards go down. Legacy know exactly what's going on. Repel's going to have to be used here from Tally, but Yuzuki's able to slow him down for a moment. Carbon now on the backside going to get stunned up. Will have to use the repel as quickly as possible, but he can't quite get there in time. Midbeast's going to lock that one down, and nice play from Infernum to make sure they commit to that.
Yeah, they find themselves a pick in a very extended situation. They do lose the turret though. And that honestly still favors Legacy.
And King able to disengage in time as well. I thought he might have been a little bit overextended, but 90 caliber net. Pretty decent disengage tool as Seb now taking a lot of damage on the retreat from Choo Choo's.
Most importantly, Infernum is still getting kills. This is the biggest difference between these games. Midbeast is having a positive impact right now on this Syndra. Just finished off his Morellos. And this is a losing lane that we're looking at, so Midbeast did have to step up, and he is.
Most certainly is. Tally, though, still having his way with this top lane matchup. Jack Attack in a bit of trouble, but of course he did this time have the counter pick option. This was not supposed to go well for Jack Attack, and Jack Attack's doing exactly what he needs to do, trying to get in, make things happen for his team as they move into this game.
Like, I just don't understand the Caitlyn priority when they can pick a Malphite against you.
It is pretty strange.
It's very interesting, but of course...
It just must be the Stealthix champion. There must be something that we don't know about this pick. We got to do some research. We'll have a chat to them. I mean, if there are any Infernum analysts that can offer us some insight into this Caitlyn, or, of course, Legacy analysts as well. You're the ones that banned it away and then picked it up. Let us know exactly why. Please, tweet in. Use that hashtag IMOPL. We'll be able to shed some light on the situation.
Of course, just people with insight would be nice in saying that.
Yeah, anyone.
I'm most confused about the priority that Legacy put on it for the purpose of picking it themselves.
Yeah.
They banned it away in the first game, so it's like, sure, I take it away from Stealthix. Now they actually have it themselves.
He's dead. Oh, yeah, Choo Choo's going to just be killed straight up from Midbeast, who I can imagine Choo Choo's probably just wasn't expecting any aggression out of this guy. Hasn't shown any this game, really coming out showing us that he can definitely stand toe-to-toe. So 89 CS to 78, and look, 3-2-0. Now the scoreline for mid-base is Harold just going to chase people out of his house. Get out of here. I'm minding this one for Baron.
And now Infernum pushing that middle lane. Tally is the saving grace for them right now because he is comfortable split pushing, as we're about to see.
Yep, Jack Attack may have to ult out of this one as Cocoon lands onto Yuzuki, takes a lot of damage from King here as well. Has to get out with the Magical Journey. Tempered Fate comes in, but that may have just sealed their fate. Able to get there. Regret 9's going to save mid-base for now as the exhaust goes down. Not going to save him for much longer as the knockback comes in, and that is mid-base dead. Seb now just has to watch the corpses of his teammates as Legacy shove up the mid lane.
And self-preservation of this Tempered Fate does exactly that and gets many members of Infernum killed. Now pressure presents itself in this middle lane, and Legacy's team composition is opening up. Look at the Malphite though.
Yeah, he wants to try and get in. There are some low-ish health bars as the quick draw is going to be used. Finally, Stealthix has made his way towards this mid lane, and this turret in a lot of trouble.
That Tempered Fate was very silly.
It was.
It was well timed to deny the Caitlyn ultimate, but it also caught other members that were going to die for that. And mid-base...
It was sort of prolonging the inevitable as well.
Well, it kind of forced it though, to be fair, because mid-base had flash and still died afterwards. Carbon used his own flash to secure the Cocoon. And Legacy's team comp, don't let him get ahead.
Well, definitely not. King now is building towards that Infinity Edge. It is going to mean that Stealthix does have the power spike earlier.
The real question to me is, can Tally and Carbon as a duo actually carry? Looking at the rest of the Legacy team comp, yeah, they're very good at complementing Carbon on this Elise and Tally on this Fiora to either split push and or group. But by having most of the gold, it's something that Seb does but struggles with, is actually carrying after that point.
Mid-base going to be able to take himself a blue buff, just steals it away. And King may have to be careful. Not going to be hit by the 90 caliber net, but in goes the teleport. There's no turret to go back to here as mid-base is going to get stunned by the riposte. Fantastic timing as King takes an ultimate, but just shrugs it off. Infernum were looking for Carbon, who goes down very low. There's the wild growth, actually, as Seb takes the ult. No, it doesn't. It's Jack Attack's going to lock that one in, but he's just gone for desperation plays right now. He's going to get turned into a little munchkin and destroyed. Now Tally is going to take down Seb, who's a little bit upset at the fact that that turret is still up.
Yeah, lock it down. Look, Legacy just start to run rampant on this map one more time. The teleport from Tally was good. He uses the riposte and denies the stun out of mid-base, and just like that, they take him down. But the battle was on two fronts as they tried to kill Carbon. Malphite and Graves ultimates used in doing so. But this is what we were just talking about. Lulu is always going to be relevant because you can buff up the Elise to stay alive.
Exactly right. Of course, he just falls down from the rappel, and they're like, that's a much bigger spider than we were battling last time. This Tally with that Titanic Hydra just shoving this wave out, able to get that turret as well. He's been the split-pushing maniac that we're expecting in this game. And it's an 8,000 gold lead somehow. So sort of just sprang up once again. 17 minutes into this game. Legacy just showing so much play, especially strategically.
Well, look, I don't even think it actually sprang up. Look at the turrets taken from Infernum.
Yeah, there's not very many, are there?
Well, yeah, the answer is 0. They've been ran around the map and they're getting picks, but they're not translating these picks into actual advantages in gold whatsoever, whereas Legacy running them around are getting advantages through objectives. Tally gets 2 turrets in that bottom lane. They keep them pushed in. They get mid. They get top. And this is Tally giving global gold to a team that are able to out-team fight when they're ahead.
Yeah. Stealthix does have his Trinity Force now. Looking to head towards that bottom lane. Try and get that one shoving out. Stealthix now moving towards mid one more time. So Legacy, see what they can do.
I wish Caitlyn didn't say boom headshot every time.
Yeah.
I really wish.
Well, thank goodness she's not the big one in the meta anymore. As Voltar Spiderling going to get quick drawn away from Seb, as Yuzuki was trying to match the dodge out of Carbon, but he just doesn't dodge. That's going to be fine.
Though does have the special delivery. Oh!
Yeah, there's the ultimate. Yuzuki, magical journey to death, I think, as King's going to be able to get off the ultimate. And that's going to lock down that kill. Stealthix still able to throw out that package if they need to, but you can see Fiora's here. JackTack wants to find something. Riposte is going to be there. Of course, Repel as well as Seb. He's caught one more time. Quick draws out of the way after that cocoon wears off.
And this is that slow bleed out that we saw in the first game, now just happening later. So Infernum, they've done well to get this to this point in the game. I think there's a lot of marked improvements from them so far. And we're looking at what has been remedied since their earlier games as tank off.
Yeah, there's the ultimate as JackTack's going to go in onto Tally, but Tally's just going to smack on
He's got
some
4
weak
members
spots.
here.
Yeah, does have to be very careful. He won't have that riposte for quite some time. JackTack now with a bit of extra movement speed, but Tally's out of there.
This is Legacy attacking on 2 fronts one more time. They send 4 top, but immediately they have to rotate 2 of them back because Legacy were pushing the mid turret, and the pressure's ever present from these guys, and Infernum is stuck answering every single time.
Yeah, and that bottom lane was shoving in favor of Legacy as well, knocking on the front door of Infernum. And Tally's doing exactly what he needs to do, shoving up as far as he can, pressuring as much as he can, and then getting out when he needs to. 2-0-2 now for this Fiora as they do grab themselves the dragon. Looks like Harold has committed suicide there in the Baron pit.
So Infernum's strategy needs to be readjusted towards their drafting and what their plans are in these games. Picking a Malphite and a Syndra is great for team fighting, but Legacy's strategy has been very evidently split pushing. So if you're going to attack a team that can out-rotate around the map through team fighting, then just dive towers. Start finding points to engage, work on your vision much more enthusiastically and put more effort into it. And then even if you're behind, just try and engage, try and take objectives. But what they're doing is putting bad split push matchups every single time. We saw the Zed into Gangplank, now we're seeing Fiora into Malphite. None of these favoring Infernum and actually forcing them to rotate in very bad situations that have caused the game to blow out of proportions.
It certainly has. JackTack going to be able to take down this pink ward. And it just seems to me like Infernum, they're picking a few too many champions that are just away from the enemy team as well. I mean, the fact that Seb now has to play this Graves that he didn't look comfortable on the first time around, just because Carbon is such a menace on the champion when he does get it, just paints a picture to me like Infernum are trying to play avoiding the power of Legacy as opposed to just playing towards their own strengths.
I somewhat agree with that sentiment, of course. Seb is still pretty good on this Gangplank. It's just, the Graves, sorry. It's just the pressure that Carbon puts down makes him look really far behind. When, like, you can't just out 1v1 someone who's got vision in your own jungle over yourself.
Well, you can see the siege is most definitely on this Caitlyn being utilized to exactly what she wants to do as Seb once again. Moving around for the flank. Yuzuki's going to be there though to protect his jungler, but Legacy just keeping the pressure on. The last remaining inner turret still here, desperately defended by Infernum for now. Legacy are just waiting. Tally with the split push.
This is the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Tally with the red buff can actually dive. And will, no doubt, if this continues. They need to send someone to answer him, or he'll just start hitting these turrets down.
Oh, you can see JackTack doing the best that he can to try and stop it. But look, he's just got so much wave clear as well with that Titanic Hydra. It's just ridiculous. Yep. And this will just continue. The 4-1 seems all too easy here for Legacy. Carbon just not happy to move out of the way. That is going to be the Tempered Fate, but the turret is going to escape it. King
Carbon's caught.
Gets out of the way at the end of the line, but Seb, look at how much damage he takes. Flashes over the wall. Nicely done. They are going to save each other for now as the Howling Gale through, but you can see that's Inhibitor turret falling. Inner turret now as well as Legacy. I mean, they don't pick up a kill, but they get all of the pressure. Well, there's the kill. I apologize. Spoke a little bit too soon. Tallywack is going to be able to grab one. Not Tallywack. He's just Tally. He's changed his name.
And now Stealthix goes towards that bottom lane, and here comes the trap setup.
Yep.
Lulu Janna with a Caitlyn. They can siege, and this is just getting rough.
Yeah, mid-beast is going to be able to at least try and lock someone down for a moment, but that's going to be the turret falling. Another Inhibitor turret is going to go down.
Teleport bottom.
And King, look at this wave clear now with that Renan's Hurricane. He's going to get stunned, but no one cares as Tally's just whacking on this Inhibitor by himself. Seb says, oh, help, but he's not going to be able to do much against this guy.
Back off. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Stealthix is here as well. That Inhibitor, one last hit, and Tally is going to be able to get around. You can see not going to get stunned by any Cosmic Bindings. Too many minions. They lose 2 Inhibitors just from added pressure around the map, and Legacy aren't playing for kills. They're just playing to win the game. They understand we're going to get to this Nexus. We got to destroy it, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, yeah, look, Legacy understand their win conditions in every single one of these matches. They've got a Malphite on Infernum, so they don't look to try and out-team fight what is a team fighting composition.
Yeah.
But Infernum also aren't executing on setting up for these team fights as effectively as they could be, so Legacy are able to be this split-pushing team and run away with the game. It's, again, I feel like it's not their draft is good. I like their draft, but they need to readjust to fix based on who they're against, and Legacy just seem to have more win conditions in every single game they play because they just have more ways to win games.
Yeah, they seem to understand exactly what they need to do. Just a little bit more than Infernum. Of course, it's something that we would come to expect from a team that has spent so much time in the top echelon of Oceanic competitive. Infernum have got a lot to learn, and as far as learning is concerned, they're going to grab a lot out of watching this game over again because Legacy have done a whole lot of things right, capitalizing on small mistakes from Infernum. As Midbase going to get tagged by that Frost Queen. Yuzuki as well is trying to make his way under his turret. Cosmic Binding not going to find too much, but it's only a matter of time before these super creeps start making their way into the base, and
get Baron
Infernum,
first.
yeah, getting spread a little bit too thin.
Absolutely right, and of course, Infernum's only response is by being this team composition they are, team fighting. And
oh my god, what was that headshot?
Yeah, headshot with a Janna shield, of course.
And a pix on his back.
This is a rinse and repeat scenario here for Legacy. Is the yeah.
You shall not pass. So many traps, stopping everything from Infernum. As Seb may need to quick draw over the back, but they of course still have that ward, but Legacy just disengage. Jack Attack trying to find his way in, but he's already lost most of his health bar. He has to use the ultimate, but he's going to die on his way in. Now Infernum are trying to get something done, as there's the Grand Challenge. Tempered Fate can take 2 out of the fight, but it's not enough. Grand Challenge is going to go off. All the health is back for this Fiora, who just grabs a double kill. I mean, you may as well take 2 out of there, but if Tally exists, then you're dead, and King's just going to jump forward. Wild Growth is there, and Legacy are all over this.
Give it Team Lulu, fair enough. It's going to be something you have to work around. Give it Team Lulu, Janna, and a hyper-scaling long-range AD carry like a Caitlyn, and you can't engage on that AD carry that's a mobile, then you run into issues. Legacy, with absolute conviction, they run over Infernum in this best of 3.
Yeah, 26 minutes. Nice Valkyrie flash there out of Stealthix to celebrate the end of that game, but damn, Legacy looking absolutely ridiculous in that match.
It was very clean cut from Legacy in games 1 and 2,
yeah.
Even showing they can slow it down but continue with multiple styles and ways to win these games. Split pushing, team fighting, it doesn't matter. Legacy can do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Looking fantastic, whichever style they play. But we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down what was a pretty incredible series from Legacy.
Thank you so much, Atlas and Rusty, and that really was a commanding victory out of Legacy, who remain undefeated. But guys, let's go back to the start of that game. Let's go back to Champion Select, because this time Infernum changed it up. They go back to a heavy initiation comp. It was something different, but it still didn't really work.
I mean, I think they had all the pieces in the right places here. We see that Yuzuki on Bard was able to do a lot more work as far as actually getting initiations going and making plays, and he did try his best there. Malphite is a classic Jack champion, and it kind of makes sense, even though the matchup with Fiora ended up being very bad, which we'll talk about later. But Malphite's, a comfort pick for Jack. Things are looking good here in general for Infernum, but it's really execution. Like, you can't just draft well, and Infernum have been drafting well and expect to just, carry the game from there.
And let's talk about some of the execution, because I want to bring up a little bit of a red buff play here. And we don't have the replay, but for us, just talk about your emotions as you watch an Elise flash a wall into a Graves to steal a red.
Let's just quickly talk about Elise versus Graves, because Infernum did a really good job. We talked about how we wanted their champ select for them to get the superior 1v1 matchups. Graves is great against Elise. Just think about his auto attack in general, the fact that he's throwing out 3 bullets against Elise's Spiderlings. He's able to clear that very effectively. He's a great dueling jungler, as is Elise, but there should be no way in hell that in an Elise Lulu versus Syndra Graves, that 2v2 is so for the Syndra and the Graves, and Legacy are able to walk in, flash over a wall, burns his flash aggressively to steal the buff, and then walks out.
Yeah, it wasn't even the fact that it was a walk. It was really the flash that kicked salt into the wounds. And that wasn't the only aggressive play they made. I want to pull up a replay on your screen and just set the scene one more time. They're sieging mid lane. They've got a Fiora split pushing. all of a sudden Malphite appears. So the rotation begins, but from there, Legacy, honestly, it looks like Infernum are just chasing. Legacy are just running, but what the heck is going on?
And this goes back to what Pastry Time was talking about. Infernum, this composition is about the hard engage. They need to engage right here because Legacy are so out of position. Look where King is, look where Tally is, everyone's split up. If they fight in the jungle, that's a wombo combo waiting to happen. But here's my favorite part, Carbon from behind. He must be saying, pinch them, pinch them. And he effectively walks up behind 4 people, and we're just like, Inferno, just turn and kill him. But this is the cockiness that we were talking about with Legacy making these early plays pre-15 minutes. There is no reason to walk up behind 4 people as Elise.
Yeah, and if we've been sort of criticizing Legacy in the few places we've been able to for their over-aggression at times, it's been Carbon that has been the culprit of the aggression more often than not. And I feel like when I talked to Carbon recently when he was on the desk, he's sort of like, I'm like, how's Game 2 going for you, buddy? And he's like, oh, not as clean. I think maybe get a little too G'd up. So there is maybe an element there where they are still a team that's maturing together and need to relax when they're coming into Game 2 because they're riding momentum maybe a little too high. But yeah, that's definitely a moment there for Carbon. He's going to look at it and be like, that's where I can clean things up. Because Legacy can clean up things there.
I want to take it a step further. Last year on the desk, Rymeister said that Chiefs will get beaten eventually because they're a team that plays their opponent. They don't play League of Legends. I think that right now, Legacy looks like a team that is guilty of the exact same crime. They played this best of 3, and they won it 2-0 very convincingly. But I feel like they played it against Infernum, not against a team in League of Legends on a random day.
Yeah, and so far, Legacy have had a relatively cruisy time through a lot of their matchups. Have clearly been looking very comfortable. I think as they play more of the top teams, it'd be interesting to see if they adjust. Because you're right, Legacy looking great right now, but when the really big marquee matches come, they cannot afford to play like this.
And what does Infernum take away from this best of 3? Because it didn't look great on both ends. What do they need to go away and look at right now and think, what can we improve on to make this a little bit smoother?
I mean, frankly, if you're going to point out the weak point, it was the mid lane's performance. And I'm not saying that player in particular, but the fact that you're losing control of the mid lane, that your Syndra isn't able to make that rotation on the Lulu, that the Corki's just not being as effective as he could have been, you need to have more of a focal control point there. And you can't just let that collapse, especially because this is now a structure-focused meta, and that is the most important structure because it gives you the most map control.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not really just mid-based in that. It's Seb, it's Yuzuki being able to get into that mid lane, and if he needs help, being able to add that extra CC.
Well, what it does is, as soon as the mid lane loses any semblance of control, not just dying, but just loses the ability, loses the push advantage, it starts eeping into Seb's jungle, and so he's suffering the consequences of his mid laner losing control, and then that snowballs into the top lane. So yeah, we see Jack Attack, going 0-5 in the first game, and then just getting run over in the second game, but the issue is it started in mid, it spread into the jungle, and like a virus, Legacy just choked him out.
And they were able to take the victory 2-0. So, guys, that is the games we have for you today. As we pull up the schedule, tomorrow, however, it will be Trident facing off against Hellions in our first of 2 games as Avant take on the Chiefs in an old rivalry. That will start at 6 p.m. Australian Daylight Saving Time. And then our OPL Legend match will be on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It will be the Direwolves trying to defend their title against Sing Gaming. As I said, that kicks off at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. But that's all from us tonight. So on behalf of myself, Prosker and Pastry Time, and the entire production crew, enjoy your night, and we'll see you tomorrow.